sleep, but I feel like Orlando Furioso.
You were a tiger lady.
I felt that Julie Bavasso, who is a brilliant, brilliant actress, was a brilliant actress, she has since died, she had for me the perfect Brooklyn, Italian, New York accent. She was the epitome. So I told Julie, Julie Bavasso became my dialect coach, and I got her to put down all of Cher's lines on tape, because Cher didn't believe she could ever lick this accent problem.
I think I learned it really quickly because Julie and I spent one day and we were making marks on the actual paper, on the script, little marks that meant long A, short A, you know, that kind of thing. And that was really better for me than the tape.
What are you talking about, you fool?
This scene might not strike you as very important because it's almost inserted here, this scene in the delicatessen, but it's a plant, you know, it's that red herring, it's the plant of the money being sent to the bank and deposited, and this pays off, of course, at the end of the picture. Because if you didn't have it, why do the two of them who run a store all of a sudden show up in the kitchen together right just at that right time? Well, this is perhaps one of the more obvious and corny parts of the film. In many ways, it's the old Cinderella bit where you know she's going to the ball. We're going to change her look. We're going to change what she wears. We're going to change the color of her hair. We're going to try to make her into something that she's never dreamed of being. Because after all, she never paid too much attention. So that when she steps out of this beauty parlor, she should look like Cher, we expect Cher to look. She should have the glamour and a different look about her, even though she's still in the old coat. And we'll change that. And so we can work towards that moment when she emerges out of the cocoon as a butterfly, and she arrives at Lincoln Center, to the ball, to the opera.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think that really a lot of me, and maybe sometimes too much of me, comes across, but I also think that when I'm working, you don't get hung up in who my other personalities are. I think that I can get you to focus on the part. I mean, in Silkwood and in Mask, except Mask was closer to me, but still this woman was way over the top. I don't do drugs, and she was really promiscuous and all that. And she was like a dyed-in-the-wool biker, but since I have the sensibilities of it, you know, I have biker friends, I have my own motorcycle, I understood it, and I liked the characters. And of course, Moonstruck was completely out of my element.
I find that there are times when writers put things in the screenplay and people reflect that are difficult to make interesting on the screen. So usually the director is trying to come up with various devices to make the moment work.
Some simple things are really powerful. And one of them in this movie is that if you prepare for a person's transformation from the beginning of a film, and then you allow us to see it, it has an effect on you that's really kind of great. At the beginning of the film, we see, on one level, Cher, dowdy. And it's like, oh, I like Cher, not dowdy. I like Cher, you know, pretty and glamorous, and her hair all the way we like it and all of that stuff. So in the transformation scene, Cher becomes Cher. And maybe just when we'd given up hope that she would. And yet it's justified completely within the telling of the story, which gives it this very real satisfaction. It's something so basically different between men and women. I could write a scene where a person gets their hair dyed, and if I wrote it for a man, it wouldn't be the same. But you write it for a woman, And it's kind of great when the woman says, oh, let me take out those ugly grays, which is, by the way, an improv. But I like that one. It's just an affirmation of life. Whereas when a man dyes his hair, too often it's a denial of death. I don't know why that is.
There are moments that are there visually before you even do the film. It's those moments that one sees in your mind's eye when you're reading the screenplay that eventually end up in the movie, much like you saw them in your imagination. This moment when you see Cher's red shoes pop out of the yellow cab like Cinderella coming out of the coach, this was a very important moment to me, and those shoes were very carefully chosen. This sequence at Lincoln Center was just the biggest nightmare that a director could have. First of all, to have that many extras in front of Lincoln Center and to have control of the lighting means that you're going to be working in the middle of the night. You're going to be working between 12 midnight, 1 in the morning, and 6 before the sun comes up, 5:30. So it's a nightmare, and especially working in New York. I knew that this is where the budget was going to get hit, so we had to save enough money to do this properly. And I knew if I could set it up so that we took advantage of Chagall, and who has the huge paintings that you can see through the entrance of Lincoln Center, the magic of Chagall, the romanticism of Chagall. And then those fountains, and then the two of them dressed and looking beautiful for the first time in the film, where Nicolas Cage is shaved and in black tie. And this was a moment that I was going to try and build into this kind of the prince and the princess and the fairy tale type aspect of the story. So it's milked pretty good here. And the actors are right, and the chemistry is right, I think. The interesting thing about